Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 44 based on novel. So let's start. How mystical. Though he couldn't feel a change in his spiritual power, there was an apparent change in the clarity of his eyesight. This really is an extraordinary eye cultivation method. It really deserves to be one of the Tang sect's secret methods. The purple chi disappeared as quickly as it came. It truly was an ephemeral existence. Wu Zhongkong had stood behind Tang Wulin, patiently guiding Tang Wulin's soul power according to the purple demon eyes method till the end. The horizon shone with a halo of light as the sun vanquished the darkness with its slow ascension to its zenith. With dawn's brief moment of twilight gone, Wu Zhongkong removed his hands and let Tang Wulin absorb the secrets of the method completely. Done. From now on, draw the purple chi into your eyes every morning and immediately cultivate for half an hour. Cultivating the purple demon eyes will take time and constant practice to reach a high level. You will progress rapidly in the beginning, but it will soon be difficult to improve and you will eventually stagnate. How do you feel now? Wu Zhongkong said. Tang Wulin nodded and said, I feel warm and comfortable. I can see in greater detail than before now that my vision is clearer. The colors are more vibrant too. Wu Zhongkong's eyes glazed over. You really feel like that? You're not exaggerating. Tang Wulin shook his head. Nope. It really feels like that. Thank you, Teacher Wu. An unknown emotion clouded Wu Zhongkong's mind. He distinctly remembered that when he had first begun cultivating the purple demon eyes, it had taken him half a month to reach that stage. Could this child be compatible with the purple demon eyes? This is the first time he's cultivated it, yet he has already progressed so much. Peering into the depths of Tang Wulin's large, bright eyes, Wu Zhongkong could only nod. Continue practicing. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Let's go down now. The two quickly washed up and ate breakfast. Fortunately for Tang Wulin, the inn they stayed at provided buffet-style breakfast. Even a child as cute as Tang Wulin was unwelcomed once the inn discovered his unparalleled eating prowess. This was a commonly heard tale of Tang Wulin. Teacher Wu, what are we doing today? Tang Wulin asked with youthful curiosity. Wu Zhongkong answered, you're staying in the room to cultivate the purple demon eyes method today. This method is still beneficial to your spiritual power even without purple chi to enhance your eyesight. Oh. Okay. Tang Wulin deflated. He had wanted to go out and see the city with Wu Zhongkong but was tasked with cultivating inside the room. Tang Wulin never imagined that this continued for half a month. Every day in the early morning Wu Zhongkong would observe him cultivate the purple demon eyes, provide guidance when necessary, then head out alone to take care of some unknown matters. Where was the relaxation mentioned? Tang Wulin was immersed in gloom and boredom. Although he had a relatively steady temper, he was still a child. Coming to such a magnificent city yet unable to explore it at all, it was no wonder he was dejected. To make things worse, Wu Zhongkong had forbidden him from meditating. He was to focus on practicing the purple demon eyes method to increase his spiritual power. Such a monotonous life truly was dull. Fortunately, the improvements were more than enough to motivate Tang Wulin onwards. It seemed that not only was he exceptionally compatible with the purple demon eyes, it was the same for the mysterious heaven method. He had made significant and smooth progress in both of these two Tang sect methods. His cultivation of the mysterious heaven method had stabilized. While his speed was not considered fast, it was greater than before. Tang Wulin's most prominent discovery though was that could condense his soul power with the mysterious heaven method. As such, despite not increasing its volume, his soul power had become incredibly dense. He had immersed himself into condensing his soul power after Wu Zhongkong told him that the greater degree of purity and density his soul power was, the further he would reach in the future. Tang Wulin's cultivation of the purple demon eyes was extremely quick. He reached the first realm of the purple demon eyes that Wu Zhongkong had mentioned in half a month. The world seemed to slow and become crystal clear in the wake of him circulating soul power according to the purple demon eyes method. The smallest of details and changes were all observed by him in this state. For instance, every speck of dust was clearly outlined under the gentle gaze of the sun. He could even discern the faint veins of distant leaves. Without such spectacular results, Tang Wulin would have found it too dull to persevere. Today was their 15th day in Heaven-Do City, yet Wu Zhongkong had only brought him around town on the first day. He had been cooped up in their room cultivating for the other days. After cultivating the purple demon eyes and eating breakfast, Wu Zhongkong finally spoke the words Tang Wulin had been yearning to hear. "Let's go, you're coming with me today." "Okay. Teacher Wu, where are we going?" Tang Wulin was jumping with joy at the long-awaited chance to go out. Wu Zhongkong turned around and said to him, "Did you feel that cultivating was very dull these last 14 days? Though Tang Wulin was taken aback for a moment, he quickly regained himself. He spoke truthfully. "In the beginning, it was like that, but it got better as I continued. I like being able to see many things I couldn't before with the purple demon eyes." Nodding, Wu Zhongkong reminded him, "Remember, cultivating is not for the sake of harming others but to have the strength to protect your loved ones. Strength is the basis for everything. The efforts you put in now are all to prevent any future tragedies." Tang Wulin wasn't mature enough to comprehend Wu Zhongkong's words completely, but within Wu Zhongkong's eyes were the same emotions he had in the cemetery. Tang Wulin carved those words into his heart. "Let's go." Wu Zhongkong walked away, leaving Tang Wulin to catch up. Just like before, they walked on foot. This time though, they weren't heading for the suburbs. No, this time, they headed straight for the core of the city. Tang Wulin didn't mind walking at all. In fact, Tang Wulin was fond of it as it gave him the chance to look around. Heaven-Do City truly was a city filled with beauty. Whether it be its historical sites, breathtaking scenery, or culture, it had it all. The lesser Seoul cars compared to East Sea City changed the mood of the city. There was a qualitative difference between East Sea City and Heaven-Do City, the two incomparable. Heaven-Do City, however, was far less industrialized than East Sea City. 2 hours on foot later, the two arrived at their destination, an antiquated garden. The garden was surrounded by tall, motley walls and a vermilion door. There were no signs or markings to name this aged garden. Wu Zhongkong briskly strode over to the door and pressed his right hand on it with practiced movements without any regard to its outward appearance. Isn't this the same action Teacher Wu did when we were at the dazzling era Tang sect?" A faint light swept over his body and beeped once before the door opened. Wu Zhongkong led the way in. The vermilion doors silently closed behind them. Inside was a space that was untouched by time and without any signs of soul technology. It possessed an aura so pristine that it was almost as if they were back in the ancient era. "You've brought him." A deep voice penetrated the silence before an elderly man walked out from the only building present in the garden. The old man's short height emphasized how fat he was. Coupled his bald head, he looked almost like a mountain of meat. Wu Zhongkong actually let his usual arrogance go and bowed in greeting to this old man. "Branch Master Zhao. Come on in. Is this really a Tang sect branch?" Tang Wulin wondered. Tang Wulin was awed beyond comparison the moment he entered the building. 2 rows of towering sculptures lined each side, exuding a majestic air. The building appeared to be a single-story building that was no taller than 5 meters from its exterior, but he was shaken to discover that once he was inside, the ceiling was well over 30 meters tall and the interior larger. The sculptures loomed over him at a height of more than 10 meters. These sculptures were of both men and women, all appearing to be in their 20s and were displayed with an assortment of martial souls. Tang Wulin suddenly found a familiar figure among the sculptures. The third sculpture on his left was a smiling, sweetly young lady with a delicate figure. In her left hand was a 3-legged cauldron while in her right was a flute. Isn't this the girl I fought in the Hall of Heroes? She appears more mature in this sculpture though. The one I fought was when she was a young girl. This is the flute cauldron Dolor, Xiao Xiao? One of the numerous titles she held was being a member of the Spirit Pagoda's founders' generation of the Shrek 7 monsters. Her 3-cycle soul cauldron and 9 phoenix flute twin martial souls were famed for their strength. Then the other sculptures should be of the remaining Shrek 7 monsters in her generation, right? Tang Wulin's excitement soared as he recalled all his favorite tales of the Tang sect that had been imprinted in his heart. The most famous were the first generation of the Shrek 7 monsters, in particular, the illustrious Thousand Hands Dolo or Tang San, leader of the Shrek 7 monsters and founder of the Tang sect. After that was the next generation that existed 10,000 years ago, the generation of Spirit Ice Dolo or Hui Hao, founder of the Spirit Pagoda. He rebuilt Tang sect from its crumbling husk of an organization back to its former glory. Tang sect never stopped shining majestically throughout the world from then on. Despite their achievements though, the Federation had a less than kind view of them. After all, the Spirit Ice Dolor had led his comrades to force the Sun Moon Empire into a peace treaty. There were even some that said that the following generation's great emperor was the Spirit Ice Dolor's illegitimate child. No one knew whether this doubtful story was true or not, however. The person beside Xiao Xiao should be Kaitu, right? Then the ones over there should be the mysterious underworld Dolor, Shu Sancha, and the demon rabbit Dolor, Jiang Nan Nan. The one at the front with shining eyes and 6 spirit souls should be the Spirit Pagoda's founder, the legendary Spirit Ice Dolor, Hui Hao. Legend said that he had a million-year Skydream Ice Worm as one of his spirit souls. He also had 2 of the 10 great soul beasts of the time, the Glacial Heaven Snow Empress and the Frost Jade Scorpion Empress. The 100,000-year Arctic Bear King and 100,000-year 8-pointed Frozen Grass were also among his array of spirit souls. There was no mistaking his claim as the most legendary figure of the time. Unfortunately, no one knew what happened after his earth-shattering, heaven-turning battle with the Beast God, Di Qian. The Beast God vanished while the Spirit Ice Dolor and his wife, the Dragon Butterfly Dolor, disappeared altogether. Perhaps only the other 5 members of that generation's Shrek 7 monsters would know where the 2 had gone. Tang Wulin felt as though he were right there with them as he gazed upon the sculptures and recalled the legends of their epic adventures. Tang Wulin's eyes glowed brighter when he switched his gaze to the sculptures on the right. If the left are the Shrek 7 monsters from 10,000 years ago, then the right should be the original Shrek 7 monsters. The sculpture of the Civet Dolor, Zhu Zhuqing, one of the original Shrek 7 monsters and a founding member of the Tang sect, stood at the very back. In front of her was Ning Rongrong, the 9 treasures Dolor. There were rumors that said she transformed her support-type martial soul, the 7 treasures glazed pagoda, into the 9 treasures glazed pagoda. With it, she had brought the sect 10,000 years of prosperity. The bloodline of the 9 treasures glazed pagoda was rare even in ancient times. Now it was merely a legend of eras long gone. Many other powerful martial soul bloodlines of the ancient era shared a similar fate and were lost with the passage of time. The demonic fire phoenix Dolor, Ma Hongjun with his flaming phoenix, stood before Ning Rongrong. As one who bore the exalted title of being one of the Shrek 7 monsters, it was only natural for his demonic fire phoenix to be known as a martial soul that stood at the world's peak. In front of him was the food god Dolor, Oscar. What's that revolving around him? Is that a sausage? That's right. I heard his nickname was Big Sausage Uncle. Standing further along the line was a man with a regal air, the White Tiger Dolor, Dai Mu Bai. It was said in the stories that he was the strongest member of the Shrek 7 monsters for a long time. Tang Wulin finally looked at the 2 most magnificent sculptures in the forefront. He didn't know why, but a shiver ran down his spine the moment he set his eyes on them. An incomprehensible feeling of warmth and longing filled him. His gaze rested on the girl in a pink dress first. Her sculpture was carved exquisitely, every line and curve capturing her essence and filling her with a spark of life. Her long scorpion braid hung down her back while her large, beautiful eyes accentuated her sweet smile. Even though spirit souls hadn't existed in that era, a pair of rabbit ears popped out from the top of her head. She was the co-founder of the Tang sect and the only member in the entire history of the Shrek 7 monsters to be a human-transformed soul beast, Soft-Bone Dolor, Xiao Wu. She was supposedly a 100,000-year soul beast that gained human form and became the Tang sect founder's lover. When her identity was revealed and others aimed for her life, the Tang sect founder didn't hesitate to protect her with his life. Yet, just when she was about to truly metamorphose into a human, the soft-boned Dolor chose to sacrifice herself and become the Tang sect founder's soul ring. Though the Tang sect founder lived thanks to her sacrifice, all that remained of her was a corpse. Tormented by his loss, he used a rare herb to just barely preserve the core of her life. He finally managed to resurrect her after undergoing many trials throughout the world, utilizing every method he could think of and severing his own arm to return the soul bone he had received from her sacrifice. Such a romantic tale of tragic love moved the hearts of countless people. It was also because of such a heart-wrenching story that the original Shrek 7 monsters were the most renowned. Tang Wulin took a subconscious step forward as he regarded the sculpture of such an eminent figure. His gaze wavered and his body began to feel feverish as he felt something calling out to him. His heart in turmoil, he turned to look at the foremost figure. This striking man had long aqua-blue hair that trailed over his shoulders while a smile warm and serene. In his left hand waved a strand of blue-gold grass and a pitch-black hammer, and spread from his back were 8 spider legs that were stretched out like an array of spears. An air of simplicity and mystery clung to him. But it was the resplendent golden trident in his right hand that offset those previous airs. The head of the long trident had an elegant and regal design carved on it. It was clear that the sculptures on the right were closer to the 2 words, Tang sect, than those on the left. The closest one of all was the founder of Tang sect. There was no doubt that this was the ancestor as well as the founder of Tang sect, the peerless figure who had ascended to godhood, praised as the strongest in all of history, the Thousand Hands Dolor, Tang San. As Tang Wulin stared at Tang San's sculpture, a sense of familiarity and security embraced his heart. Under the gentle gaze of Tang San, Tang Wulin felt his boiling blood settle down and a similarly pleasant smile found its way onto his lips. These 2 generations of Shrek 7 monsters had each created their own eternal legends in 2 different eras of the Tang sect. They brought the Tang sect to the zenith of glory and gave birth to a Tang sect saying, "We are all Tang sect. We are born to be peerless." These 2 provocative phrases were actually hanging on the wall right beside the large Tang sect. 3 bows. Wu Zhongkong's sudden instruction roused Tang Wulin from his stupor. Tang Wulin hastily straightened his back and fought back the urge to keep admiring the sculptures around him. The 2 of them respectfully bowed 3 times to the 2 large words, Tang sect. Pride gushed from the depths of Tang Wulin's heart. This was the pride of being a Tang sect disciple. This is the Tang sect with over 20,000 years of history. Seeing that they finished their 3 bows, the old man gave them an approving nod. "Now then, you 2 follow me." The old man led them to the left side of the hall. Wu Zhongkong pulled on Tang Wulin's hand, indicating for him to follow and quietly said, "This garden was established by the Tang sect's founder, Tang San. It's also the place with the longest history in the Tang sect. It was seized by someone else 10,000 years ago, but Spirit Ice Dolor Hu Hao took it back and used this place as the starting point to rebuild the Tang sect up to what it is today. This isn't the Tang sect's headquarters anymore, but it's still a critical location to the Tang sect. Every year the core disciples of the Tang sect come here to pay their respects. The only reason you're able to come here today is because your membership has been approved now." "My membership has been approved? Then I'm an actual Tang sect disciple now." Tang Wulin was on cloud 9 at the moment. Old Man Zhao brought them into a side room. Silence pervaded the simply furnished room. Only a seemingly timeless wooden bed which exuded an air of antiquity sat in the room. The old man turned to face Tang Wulin, expressionlessly saying, "Get on the bed." "Huh?" Tang Wulin's brain stopped working. Wu Zhongkong quickly asserted the order. "Do what Branch Master Zhao says." "Oh." Tang Wulin replied blankly, then took off his shoes and climbed onto the bed, sitting cross-legged. Old Man Zhao climbed onto the bed with him. When Zhao placed a hand on his shoulder, a slight floating sensation enveloped his body. A moment later, Tang Wulin found himself facing the other direction. Old Man Zhao sat down behind him. "Pay close attention and loosen your body. Relax both your mind and body." As he complied with the old man's instructions, 2 streams of soul power bore into his back, one firm while the other gentle. "It's the mysterious heaven method." His familiarity with the method allowed him to immediately recognize the root characteristics of the old man's soul power. Yet, Tang Wulin had never faced such vigorous soul power before. He felt like a small boat drifting along the tides of the sea that was Old Man Zhao's soul power. Very quickly Tang Wulin felt bloated as an unknown pressure expanded within his body like inflating a balloon. The swollen sensation transitioned from a mere discomfort to piercing pain as time ticked on. His meridians and internal organs began to groan with pain, and in response, his blood grew frenzied and widened his meridians, dulling the pain until it was just a numb throb. Ah! Tang Wulin yelped in surprise. His already swollen body began to enlarge once again, sinking his mind into a muddled state. After an unknown period of time, the distended feeling subsided like the ocean tide. It was as if it had never been there in the first place, leaving Tang Wulin feeling utterly refreshed. A shiver ran down his spine and he woke from his involuntary slumber. Branch Master Zhao stood by the bed, astonishment written all over his face. East Sea's little Zhongkong, just where did you find such a freak? His soul power is obviously weak, but his body is extraordinarily strong. With a respectful tone muting his usual bluntness, Wu Zhongkong said, Branch Master Zhao, what are the maximum level of spirit souls and soul rings do you think he can bear right now? Branch Master Zhao paused before replying, the spirit soul's level is dependent on spiritual power, and soul rings are dependent on the body, so it shouldn't be a problem for his current body to support a 1,000-year soul ring, up to 4,000 years old. Wu Zhongkong's face now mirrored the Branch Master's look of amazement. He hadn't expected Tang Wulin's body to actually be able to bear this much. An ordinary soul master's first soul ring could reach up to 400 years, yet Tang Wulin's body was already more than 10 times stronger than his peers, and his meridians had proved to be extremely durable as well. It was normal for anyone who discovered such a little freak's capabilities to feel astounded. Wu Zhongkong's voice still held a trace of surprise as he clarified, so you're saying that if his spirit soul evolved into the 1,000-year level and he has sufficient spiritual power, if he had 2 soul rings, each will be 2,000 years? By the time he breaks through to 2 rings, his body will have grown even stronger, and at that point, wouldn't he be able to support 2 soul rings of the 3,000-year level? Branch Master Zhao nodded in affirmation. You could think of it like that. Of course, that's assuming he has enough spiritual power to support a 3,000-year spirit soul, which is approximately 200 points of spiritual power. What is his current spiritual power level? Wu Zhongkong recalled Tang Wulin's remarkable results as he said, he has already started cultivating the purple demon eyes and he is very compatible with it, showing much insight. With such a powerful method and coupled with his perception, he should make quick progress in his spiritual power until he reaches the Spirit Sea realm. I estimate that his spiritual power has already broken through 100 points since his spiritual power was already extraordinary to begin with, so it should be no problem for him to acquire a 2,000-year spirit soul and a pair of 2,000-year soul rings. His spirit soul should also improve further as he cultivates his spiritual power, but since his soul power is only rank 16 at the moment, he'll need at least half a year to reach rank 20, and that's only in the best of circumstances. He should have plenty of time to increase his spiritual power. A mysterious smile tugged at Branch Master Zhao's lips as he ran his hands over his shiny bald head. I understand now. You've been planning on raising him to be extraordinary from the very beginning. Not bad, not bad. He seems like a promising disciple. Tang Wulin sat there without speaking, blankly listening to the two converse and unable to comprehend their conversation. Wu Zhongkong's voice snapped him out of his daze. Wulin, thank Branch Master Zhao. Tang Wulin hastily scrambled off his chair and bowed deeply in gratitude. Thank you. Branch Master Zhao dismissed his gratitude with a wave and spoke with a profoundness that was beyond Tang Wulin. Not bad. It seems we have another promising young disciple in the Tang sect now. We'll be taking our leave then, Branch Master Zhao. The Branch Master responded with a knowing nod. Go then. You can give him the Tang sect badge now. This child has great potential. Teach him well. Yes. Wu Zhongkong gave a respectful salute and made to leave the branch with Tang Wulin. Teacher Wu, I don't really understand what you two were talking about earlier. Were you saying I can still improve my spirit soul in the Spirit Ascension platform? Wu Zhongkong nodded. Branch Master Zhao has a gentle and pure martial soul which is suited for accurate measurements of bodily endurance and tested you. Now our goal is to upgrade your spirit soul to the 2000-year level so your soul rings will be at the 1000-year level at the very least. Your physique is already strong enough so you must focus on cultivating the purple demon eyes. Quickly reach the Spirit Sea realm, and don't get distracted. Once you reach that realm, you won't have to worry about your spiritual power again until you attain 6 rings. Yes? 1000-year spirit soul? 1000-year soul ring? Tang Wulin's heart raced with excitement and yearning. Wu Zhongkong was fully aware of the effect his words had on his disciple. Now we're going to the Spirit Pagoda to measure your spiritual power. The local Spirit Pagoda branch was situated in the center of Heaven-Do City, surprisingly closer to the local Tang sect branch than one would initially assume. Though it couldn't compare in size to the one in East Sea City, its simplistic architecture exuded an ancient elegance. Be careful of what you say once we enter. Listen and observe closely instead of speaking. Do not be fooled by appearances. There are many powerful people within the Spirit Pagoda, especially so in Heaven-Do City. With his teacher's cautionary words, Tang Wulin stepped past the pagoda's simple doors and was immediately assailed by noise. An endless stream of people entered and exited, bustling to and fro within the pagoda. Compared to East Sea City's trickle of people, this was akin to a steady current. Tang Wulin suspected that not only were they all soul masters, they were likely far more powerful than him as well. They conducted the spiritual power test in a small, isolated room after paying an excessive 5,000 federal coins. The cost of living in Heaven-Do City truly couldn't be compared to East Sea City. As for the results, they were unexpected, to say the least. Even Wu Zhongkong had a look of shock. 124. Tang Wulin's spiritual power had nearly doubled. It would not have been this surprising if he were a spiritual system soul master like Guu with a weaker body, as spiritual power and physical strength were typically inversely proportional for soul masters. Yet his spiritual power had actually grown exponentially, exceeding the 108-point threshold to the intermediate rank of the Spirit Connection realm by such a large margin. Wu Zhongkong was more certain of Tang Wulin's chances to acquire a pair of 2000-year soul rings and a 2000-year spirit soul after seeing Tang Wulin's 2 unexpected results today. The darkness of night descended by the time they returned to the inn. After a sumptuous meal, Wu Zhongkong summoned Tang Wulin. Wulin, you should have an idea of what I have planned for you by now. In all honesty, your martial soul is very weak. After all, it's the blue-silver grass that is praised as a trash martial soul. Tang Wulin was beset by bewilderment. Can calling it trash really be called praise? Wu Zhongkong continued without minding Tang Wulin's brooding expression. Your strange bloodline, however, has caused it to mutate and has affected your spirit soul as well. Even now, they continue to transform. This is beneficial to you. With your powerful body, you can upgrade your spirit soul further than your peers. It would naturally be upgraded too. Perplexed, Tang Wulin asked, Teacher Wu, I understand that I can upgrade my spirit soul further, but what do you mean by naturally? Wu Zhongkong said, there are unnatural existences too. Some large clans or sects use heavenly treasures or unique methods to stimulate their disciples' bodies. With stronger bodies, they are able to contain more powerful soul rings and spirit souls, but this isn't done normally. Only in rare situations where the disciple far excels in one aspect will such a method be considered. Take Guu for example. With her high spiritual power, she only needs to strengthen her body before she'd be able to upgrade her spirit soul as you did. Unfortunately, with 2 soul rings, it would be too difficult for her to strengthen her body to the necessary level now. This is the key point that allows one to possess a pair of 1000-year soul rings and a 1000-year spirit soul. Though Guu's physique has strengthened with the addition of another soul ring, it only serves to amplify the areas she already excels in and widens the gap between her existing weaknesses. It truly is a pity. If her situation was better, I would help her regardless of whether or not she joined the Tang sect. Currently, your current greatest advantage is in your soul power, which has, by nature, grown inversely proportional to your physique and spiritual power. In such a situation, you are able to evolve your spirit soul further than your peers without resorting to unnatural methods, which will free you from any future side effects. That's not all though. Through this, you'll be able to lay a firmer foundation, so it is absolutely crucial to your future that you do not waste this opportunity. To aid you in evolving your spirit soul as quickly and as safely as possible, I'll enter the Spirit Ascension platform together with you. Before we can do this, I'll need to obtain 2 intermediate Spirit Ascension entry cards, since only those with 7 rings and under can enter. The soul beasts will be more vicious and harder to deal with in the intermediate level, but that also means their year levels will be higher, about the same as the ones in the Great Star-Do Forest. With my help, it shouldn't take too long to gather enough spiritual energy. Intermediate Spirit Ascension platform? Puzzled, Tang Wulin asked, but Teacher Wu, can I really enter the intermediate level with only 1 soul ring? Wu Zhongkong assured, there are no minimum rank requirements. As long as you have the necessary entry card, you'll be able to enter even an advanced Spirit Ascension platform. In fact, the Spirit Pagoda actually wishes to see weaker entrants. Quicker deaths mean fewer resources expended. And it's actually very common for large clans to escort the younger generation in like I am. The difference, however, is that their charges usually lack the necessary physique or spiritual power to fully take advantage of it, quickly reaching their limits at the 100-year level. Since the advent of spirit souls, it wasn't body strength that perplexed most soul masters, but rather their spiritual power. In order to grow stronger, more spirit-soul fusions are necessary, yet this increases the spiritual power requirements. Sadly, 80% of soul masters are just barely able to reach the spirit sea realm and host 3 spirit souls. Because they are unable to break their limits, few are spurred into using daring methods that forcibly raise their first spirit soul to a higher level. 10,000-year spirit souls are the hardest to obtain since they can't be artificially manufactured. Luckily, my 5th soul ring is at the 10,000-year level despite my spiritual power, which is only at the peak of the spirit sea realm. Normally, this only allows me to support 3 spirit souls, but with a 10,000-year spirit soul, I'm able to have 4 soul rings, allowing me to cultivate to 8 rings. That's my limit though. If I want to make any more progress and fuse 4 spirit souls, my spiritual power will need to break through to the next realm, but that is a dream that I will likely never achieve in my lifetime. As long as your first spirit soul evolves to the 1,000-year level, you won't have to worry about your first 3 soul rings. Then if you obtain another 1,000-year spirit soul for your second and somehow obtain a 10,000-year spirit soul for the third, you will have opened the path to potentially becoming a title dolor. These are my hopes for you, and I hope you'll make it your goal. An epiphany struck Tang Wulin. This entire explanation had been from the perspective of a high-level soul master, a viewpoint so far above his young age and inadequate experience. Entry cards for the intermediate Spirit Ascension platform are hard to obtain and practically impossible to buy with money. Any cards that a city possesses is completely monopolized for internal use, which leaves us with 2 options, either trade for them or buy them at an auction. Tomorrow night we'll try our luck at the auction house, and if that fails, we'll have to arrange a trade. You should be able to trade your Rebellion Spirit Ascension platform entry card for 2 intermediate level 1s. A new question occurred to Tang Wulin. Teacher Wu, why aren't we doing this in East Sea City? Wouldn't it be easier since we're more familiar with the area? Wu Zhongkong shook his head. The 3 of you are too outstanding and caught the attention of East Sea City's Spirit Pagoda. I doubt you would have joined them otherwise. With their growing influence, it would be troublesome to draw more attention to yourself when you evolve your spirit soul to the 1,000-year level. The situation in Heaven-Do City is more favorable for our goals. There are many more geniuses and large clans here, with no clan explicitly dominant. The chances of drawing unwanted attention will be far less if your talent only shines for a moment amongst the rest. Tang Wulin finally understood how much deliberate planning and considerations Wu Zhongkong had put into this endeavor. Okay. I understand. It wasn't Tang Wulin's first time visiting an auction house. He had been to the one in East Sea City before. The moment he walked through the great doors of the Heaven-Do Imperial Auction, however, he finally understood how lacking East Sea City's auction house truly was. The Heavendo Imperial Auction hosted their weekly events in an enormous imperial hotel. Beautiful paintings lined the brightly lit hall and a magnificent crystal chandelier hung from the ceiling. Each seat was a comfortable leather sofa, while tables to one side of the hall held a variety of refreshments, including pastries, fruits, drinks, and alcohol. This was to be expected, of course. Wu Zhongkong had paid a deposit of 1 million federal coins to gain entry for the two of them. It was only this cheap because Wu Zhongkong had presented themselves as father and son again, meaning they only had to pay one deposit. They donned the masks that every guest received with a numbered sign upon entry. The auction house's splendor dazzled Tang Wulin, his heart trembling at such a lavish scene. It's so big. Over 300 people were present on the ground floor. This didn't include the occupants of the second floor's private rooms. Wu Zhongkong was unfazed by the atmosphere of luxury, his icy expression remaining steadfast. "Teacher Wu, here, take my savings card," said Tang Wulin as he presented it to Wu Zhongkong. "There's a little over 3 million federal coins inside. Please manage it for me." The intermediate entry card would definitely be expensive, and Wu Zhongkong was once again acting for his sake, so Tang Wulin felt that it was only natural that he contributed his own money. Where did all this money come from? Wu Zhongkong faced Tang Wulin with a frown. "I earned it from blacksmithing," Tang Wulin replied frankly. Wu Zhongkong was left speechless for a moment. He soon composed himself and asked Tang Wulin, "What is your blacksmith rank now?" Tang Wulin brightly answered, "3rd rank. I should have known. I originally thought those 1,000 refined vests had been partially forged by you, but they were actually all your handiwork, weren't they?" Tang Wulin nodded. Only 10 years old, and he's already at the 3rd rank of his secondary occupation. Even with his limited knowledge about blacksmithing, he understood the significance of reaching the 3rd rank. But he chose not to comment on it or pursue the topic further. A half-hour later, the lighting dimmed and the clamoring crowds quietened. "Welcome, honored guests, to the Heavendo Imperial Auction. Our weekly auction is about to start, and I am pleased to tell you that we have many great items to offer you. We have spirit fruits, rare metals, battle armor, mechas, and other unique items. We will now be handing out tonight's program. Please look through it in the 20 minutes before the official start of the auction." The backs of the sofas lit up with gentle lights while several scantily clad young ladies arrived, smiling seductively as they handed out the programs. Different auctions had different rules. Some auctions revealed the catalogue in advance, but Heavendo Imperial Auction did not do so. This prestigious auction was highly reputed throughout the continent, and though it could not be deemed one of the best, it had its own distinguishing features. The goal of this auction was to always give its guests a pleasant surprise. Wu Zhongkong accepted the booklet and flipped through pages of illustrations, searching for intermediate Spirit Ascension platform entry cards. Tang Wulin wiggled close to Wu Zhongkong, curious about what items were being sold today. The items in the catalog were separated into several categories. This video will end here.